And then the Premier of the Northwest Territories has spoken out about infrastructure gaps there and say that the federal government has failed because of those infrastructure gaps. Wondering if I could get your reaction to this.
When I spoke with Premier Cochrane last week in advance of the evacuation, it was clear that having one road that itself was vulnerable out of Yellowknife, it was a huge challenge. We're talking about the concerns about evacuating close to 25,000 people from the territorial capital. And within 2 days, they'd evacuated close to 20,000 people in a very effective way. And that's, as you say, not a credit to great infrastructure, because infrastructure wasn't. It's a credit to community members and individuals and people and frontline support workers helping out, making sure that it all happened effectively. But that's part of the reflections we have to have going forward on how we can make sure that we have even more resilient communities. So whereas this time the fires in Yellowknife were able to be prevented from getting too close to the city, next time we might not be so lucky, and we're going to need to learn from these near misses. Thank you.
Good morning, Tammy Williams with Shaw Spotlight. So I also have a question about money for rebuild, but from the perspective of someone whose neighborhood was evacuated. I think many of us are indeed wondering where the money will come to rebuild the communities, and perhaps that's especially poignant for people who may not have had insurance.
We are facing a changing world right now, changing climate. We're seeing more and more intense weather events. Insurance is going to get more difficult for people to obtain, even for those who can obtain it. And we know that that falls on all of us to be there for help, to help communities and individuals who've lost everything, who are having to rebuild. We need to take lessons in how to rebuild safely. I mean, we've seen the difference between neighborhoods that were built with fire safety in mind and neighborhoods that were built before. That was really something we're thinking about. I've had a number of conversations about the need for better forest management. There are a lot of things that we need to do to be thoughtful and careful as we rebuild. I think people understand that we're in different situations now, and we're going to have to be really thoughtful and careful about how we work together. But the one thing I can say is we are going to be there for each other. That's what Canadians do. All orders of government will be there to work together to make sure the Canadians are getting through this. That's what our job is as governments, and that's what we're going to continue to do.